Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Diana Dorsey with Simply Elegant by Diana. This next set of videos that I'm putting together for you are going to focus on helping those couples that are at the beginning stages of planning their wedding and they're in the process of booking their vendors and they don't really know what to ask. And so to help me today on the topic of florals, I have a very special guest and a very dear friend, Anne. Can you tell us a little bit about you and your company?
Sure. My business is Flourish CA, Flourish, California. We focus on wedding and events, and our primary goal is really helping our clients find their floral language and helping their visions come true.
It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So, Anne, one of the problems that I find when I'm doing a consultation with potential couples is that they don't really know what to ask a vendor. I would love to hear from you, based on your expertise and experience, what should couples be asking a florist when they're booking them?
I think it's so important, and I'm really, really excited to talk to you about it today because I think it's an interview process both ways, right? So it's important for me to know my clients and for them to really understand. So some of the things that are really critical are talking about design and style. So really kind of knowing your florist and what's their vibe, what's their feeling, and having that described to you and asking them how would they describe themselves. I always start with a 30-minute conversation before I even get to talking about numbers and bids, because I want to understand their aesthetic, I want to understand their goals, I want to understand their venue, and I want to talk about kind of what's possible and get to know each other, because I think the other thing that's super important, and it's probably similar in your business as well, is that we have a rapport, that I'm able to understand what they want and translate that for them. The money thing is always scary for people, and it's very uncomfortable sometimes. So I just try to break down barriers and just have that conversation naturally. It's important to know from your florist if they have a minimum or if they have a travel distance minimum or requirement. So the way I do my calls is I ask about the aesthetics, and then we go through item by item. So I pretend that I'm a guest walking through their venue. And we talk about their ceremony, their wedding party, their welcoming, their cocktails, their dining, everything. So that from there I can gather all the details to prepare a bid for them.
And you bring up a great point, because one of my questions that I ask my couples is like, what do you want guests to remember about your wedding day? And a lot of times they're like, holy moly, I didn't even think about that. And so that's great that you bring that up.
Well, and I find that, this is hopefully a one-time event for people, and they don't ever have large parties like this. So they don't have all the complicated aspects of it. And for me, as a floral designer, people don't talk about flowers. They don't really understand flowers. So I try to help people find the language to have that conversation, and for me to describe how I work with people so that they can understand what to expect as well. I think they should ask a little bit about your work style. To understand, do you do the design or does somebody else do it? If it's a big event, do you have a team working with you? Do you deliver, like would I deliver myself, or do I send people out? Where do I get my flowers? Like, what's my philosophy about my work? I think you should ask your floral designer, how do they educate themselves, or how do they stay ahead of trends? Like, what do you...
That's awesome.
Yeah, and what do you like about your work?
Yeah.
Because I think that, when you hear that someone's excited about what they do, I love what I do. I think that brings a whole different level to the job and a different level of creativity for people.
Yeah. Well, and those are all great tips and questions couples should think about. What about like red flags? At what point should couples be like, uh-oh, maybe we shouldn't hire this florist, or what are some red flags?
I think it's really important to feel like you're listened to, that your client feels respected, and that your floral designer isn't interrupting you all the time, isn't forcing information on you, isn't trying to change what your perspective is. I think they should serve as a professional, and they should be knowledgeable, but they should listen to you and let you do more of the talking to explain things. And a lot of times, especially with flowers, people don't know what they like.
Yes.
So one of the things that I try to tell them is, it's okay to know what you don't like. Actually, that helps me as much as what you might like. If you hate a flower, you hate a color, you don't like a style, that's important. Another red flag for me is when you are talking to a floral designer, especially their Instagram and their website, is that actual work or is that all photo styled work? And that's not to say that photo styled work isn't beautiful and important, but that's a totally different environment than working real life. And we know that from our day-to-day lives and working on events. Event setup is hectic. So if you can make, if you can make an event look beautiful and the execution's great, then you can trust pretty much that person on your day is going to be able to come through, versus sitting in front of a camera and being able to touch everything and put it in the perfect position. It's really different.
That's why it's called a styled shoot.
Yeah, that's right.
It's styled to perfection.
That's totally true. I love that, styled to perfection. That's a good one.
Right?
It's true. Oh, the other thing that I think is a red flag, but also important for couples, is for the floral designer to describe the process to them. Like when I speak to clients, I really want them to know what they can expect from me. Super important to make sure that everybody's expectations are aligned and clear.
Very important.
And that just saves so much at the end. And it makes everybody a whole lot happier and more successful, I think. So the other thing that I thought of are some kind of on the fence things, or just judgment calls that couples should feel confident about making or just consider. And one is always about budget. You know, sometimes you love the idea that somebody has or the way they've expressed the work to you, but they're coming in slightly higher than what you expected. I think it's important to be conscious of your budget, but also really think about what's important to you and where you want to put your money and what's your value, and just be clear on that. I think the other one is in reference to style. Like if you come with a preconceived notion of what you want, but someone's kind of educating you in a different way, to sort of be open to that as a possibility.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And like you said, and that's the whole point of doing this video right now, it's really about educating your couple. Again, they've never planned a wedding, they don't really know what to ask or what they're getting into when they're planning a wedding and how much more there is to it.
Yes.
And if you go in planning a wedding and don't really know, you're gonna feel overwhelmed and lost. And so that's why it's important to reach out to experts.
I totally agree. And I think the biggest thing for me for a client is it's their day. I mean, we're both so invested in people being happy. It is a business for us, but we really want everybody to have what they want. And we want them to enjoy it and be happy. Okay, and one more thing that I think is really a good judgment call, and this was important for me starting out. If you are working with someone who's new to the business, but who shares a vision with you and who really seems to understand you and get what you want, sometimes it's worth giving somebody a try. And, you know, getting into the nitty-gritty and making sure that you're comfortable. But new people are hungry. And, you know, we all started out. So that's a judgment call for sure in terms of your comfort level as a client. But I think that's something to think about.
Wow, that's a very deep one. Yeah, I like that one. That's very important.
It speaks to us.
It does because I started off not knowing anything, and other than what I did for my wedding, I was given that opportunity, and here I am 9 years later, and so that's really hard. It's like hiring a new florist or a new planner versus an experienced florist.
You and I always feel like it's new for us. I mean, we have experience and we've done this, but our attitude is that it's new.
Yes.
So nothing's ever boring for us, and each one is special and unique. So I guess new to me is like someone starting out, but also someone who has that fresh outlook about things and treats you like it's new.
And I agree.
Good.
Yeah, because I still get excited, I still cry, it's still very fresh, and I absolutely still love it. Well, thank you so much, Anne. This was super helpful. And where can they find you?
Oh, I have a website. It's Flourish, FLEURISHCA.com, and I'm on Instagram. It's @FlourishCA.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being so helpful. And I'm Diana Dorsey again, and you can find me on Instagram at BookSimplyElegant and on my website at www.booksimplyelegant.com. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and follow. And if you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below. We love feedback. Until then, thanks for watching.